the Tamil that I was hearing and the way that Mani sir writes became very familiar to me. Mysskin sir's Tamil was a whole different, it was like a different language to me. Dhanush being an actor himself and being such a chameleon, he would quite often almost show me a head gesture and be like, see, you're from this village, so you can do something like this. And I'd be like, yeah, credibility, respect, that is earned. You cannot buy it, you can't get it in your lineage, you have to earn it.
Hello Aditi, welcome to Film Companion South.
Hello, happy to see you, looking cheerful and happy to be here.
Yes, this bright yellows, I think, making me look more cheerful than I usually am. So Aditi, one of the things that we've been hearing about recently, a lot of talk has been happening about the film industry and how there are a privileged insider few who get steered around by godfathers, and how there are people outside that have to struggle. They have to make their own way with it. How have you made your peace with this entire process?
See, I look at it as fact and a reality that one has to deal with. And I feel no resentment in that reality, because I feel that in any kind of industry, this is something that happens. If I were like my maternal family, they're publishers. If I wanted to join the publishing industry, yes, they might put me through the grinder, but I would have those many more opportunities. So I feel so too with the film industry. It is only natural that people born into that industry, one, have possibly grown up on sets, watched their parents edit films, direct films, etc., etc., and it is only natural that they get that many more opportunities.
Right.
Now, I feel what is left to us and our attitude is now what we do with those opportunities. And I'm an idealist and I am always positive. So I believe once you've gotten 10 and I've gotten that 1, after that we are on a kind of level playing ground, and then it's your talent. And there are again certain factual things, like if I fall, I'll fall harder. If somebody else falls, if they fall, there'll be a cushioning. But isn't that natural? I mean, like if my mother is around me in my industry, she will cushion me when I'm falling. And my mother isn't, because she's not from this industry, etc., etc. So I deal with it like that, because otherwise, I don't like resentment to enter my thoughts or my choices or my attitude. And I feel like I don't want to, like, how can I hold something like this against somebody else? Now, having said that, I feel the responsibility does fall on those people who have the power to possibly be a little more democratic and a little more fair in their choices and in their decisions. So I really feel as an actor that power to be democratic, etc., etc., whatever these, it doesn't lie with me. I've come from somewhere, I'm dependent on a lot of people, and anyway, actors are very dependent on a whole team. I mean, we do think we are God's gift to mankind, and people make us feel like that, but a whole team creates us, And I feel so then that fairness or whatever lies with those people, the people in that position of power. So say like in my family and in the publishing industry, I know that my family and any child in my family that has joined our family business has possibly been treated much worse than anybody else. So, so then I give complete credit to my family to say that they have been so fair. In fact, like it's like that. So, I mean, that's how I look at it, and that's how I make my peace with it. And I don't really fight with that. I'm quite okay. And I'm like, today I feel like even if it's one step at a time, I still struggle not to get work. You put your hand up, you'll get work, but the quality of work that you want and the dreams that you have, that's still a struggle. But I feel like I'm accountable for myself. I'm responsible for myself. And hopefully credibility, respect, that is earned. You cannot buy it. You can't get it in your lineage. You have to earn it. So it's okay. Like this is what I believe. I'm very, very, very... I sound naive in many ways, but I truly believe that.
No, it's not that you sound naive, but you sound very, how do I put it, optimistic, like you said, idealistic. But tell me, isn't there one part of you that has gone into a slightly dark space when, like, let's say a star kid got all these opportunities, and you, despite giving this amazing performance, kind of, you were not, you're kind of maybe having to struggle a little more. Has there ever been a time when you kind of felt rotten? That's
100%. There have been times when I felt like that. But again, it's my personality type to turn it and say that, look, I can choose to crib and see the nonsense around me, or I can choose to be really grateful for what I have and what I've been given, and what I'm working towards. So there have been times when, and I know this, it's like, uh, I've done okay, I find very difficult. Okay, so I've done this good work in something, and there's somebody who's from, who has good backing, who has also done good work in something. But that will be made to be like, it is life changing and cinema changing and world changing. And what this one has done is like, you're so good, you're so talented. And I feel there's a huge discrepancy in that. And, it again, I used to, when I was new, I used to find that a lot on, like, say, a platform like Twitter, on social media, where everybody will come and support and tweet and retweet. But for you to get that, and I never ask. I will never ask anybody. And I'll certainly never use my friendships, to say, please, can you do this for me? Because I want my friendships to be separate from my professional thing. But nobody comes forward and does it. Having said that, today I've made complete peace with it. Because I feel like, again, I will do what I think is right. And I will stick with people if I think it's right. And I will, like, I feel I can only control myself and my attitude and how I react to people and how generous I am to them or thoughtful I am. I can't control anybody else. And then it's up to me whether I trust somebody or I don't, or whether they're my friends or whether they're not, or whether they're just professional friends or not. So because I refuse to become a dark, envious human being. I don't like that. Like, again, coming back to personality type, like, I am this, like, happy artist. I've grown up like that as a child, and I want to always be like that, because that's where my creativity and my joy comes from. It's like that I believe in magic. I believe there's a unicorn standing over there.
nice.
That's what makes me, who I am, and I don't want to lose that, because then I'll lose what is authentic to me.
So, Aditi, coming to your work, apart from Hindi, we've seen you in Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam films. In fact, you had a Malayalam film with Mammootty very, very long ago, Prajapati, and then now you're coming again with Sufiyum Sujathayum, which is out on Amazon. Do you enjoy being a nomad?
First, let me address the Malayalam film question. I don't know how that film has even been put into my filmography, because I literally did it as a dancer. I don't even think I was there for more than 5 minutes. And I don't remember that experience very well, because it was around the time that I did Shringaram. I wasn't professional. I was dancing, I was studying, etc., etc. So I would say that Sufiyum Sujathayum is actually a first for me in Malayalam. But do I enjoy being a nomad? Okay, now this again goes back to possibly how I've been brought up. So, see, I feel like culturally I'm very mixed.
Right.
My ancestry is mixed, and it's been very natural to me, that kind of, the very different cultures in my upbringing, and somewhere I always wanted to be this pan-Indian actor. I don't know whether it's my craving to be just loved by everybody, or it's just that whole cultural, that very syncretic cultural India that we are, and me feeling like a part of that complete India. I think it's a combination of that. And then now, of course, now that I watch more movies, etc., etc., it's also the different diverse voices and the different filmmakers. And I feel like I would be doing myself such a disservice by not doing a film when I don't know the language, when that filmmaker makes the most insane content. And I feel like, film is so much about feeling, and it's not about region, boundaries, language, etc. It's so much about feeling, and feelings are so universal that I'm like, I want to do it all. And that I became an actor because of Money Sir. So in my head, I was like, I have to work with Money Sir. Somehow one day I'll be a Mani Ratnam heroine, and that'll mean I'll have to learn Tamil. And I'm game. And if I can do that, then I can also do Telugu, and I can also do Malayalam. So it's that. And I'm a very like I'm very like, if I want to do something, that nothing can stop me. I'm so determined and very very like fearless like that. I'll be like, I'm gonna do it somehow. So yeah, so it's that. I mean, did I answer your question?
You did, which leads me to this next question. When you become a nomad, right, there are certain challenges that come up with it. One is, of course, the language, not just learning the lines, but learning to emote those lines with the specificities of a culture that you may not be familiar with. What is your process with this?
I think okay, so though like more than nomad, I'll say like I have that little free spirit streak, but I'm very very rooted also, and I can like root immediately very quickly. The process, I'm very bad at explaining process because I don't know if I have one.
Let me remind you of when we spoke during the release of Cartavilla, I think. You would mention that you took the script and you went to bed with it. Went to the shower with it. You were
Thank you for
pretty much.
reminding.
You remember that what you said,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. It seemed to me like having it around you was kind of something that you did.
No, no,
Like when
absolutely.
you're doing a Samohanam, let's say,
Yeah.
or you're doing Sufiyum Sujathayum. How do you? I mean, you obviously work with a dialogue coach or an assistant director or somebody to get the lines. But beyond that, is there something that you do?
Yeah, so with KV and with Sammohanam, Sufiyum Sujathayum, I didn't have that problem of dialogue. Yes, but with the others, I did. And the only way that I can do it, so the thing is, like what I've realized, especially after having worked with Mani sir, and that's been life changing for me in many ways. Like I realized that, and this is something that Mani sir said to me. So my first meeting with Mani sir, where I was just like every pore in my body was praying that I wouldn't muck up that, because he was doing a screen test, and I was just
Which
like,
scene was it?
which scene was it? It's a
Yeah.
scene that actually didn't make it to the final cut. It's a scene where I am describing to my tata what I saw in the hospital, where I'm trying to cajole him and say, why are you so irritated with me? I was actually dealing with all this
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
And it's like a one like half page monologue, and only I'm talking chatta 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 chatta. So it was that scene, and of course I was sent that scene, and I was shitting bricks because I was like, I can't mess this up. This is my childhood dream, like it's my lifelong dream to be a Mani Ratnam hero. Anyway, so I get there and I'm very transparent. So I just like said it to his face. Like I was just like, so I don't want to mess this up. I don't know the language. I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's been my dream to work with you. I can't, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So he just looked at me very calm in how Mani sir is. And he said, I'm not testing whether you can act or not. I'm just seeing, do you respond to me as a director? That's when I realized that dialogue, no dialogue, costume, hair, makeup, where, location, what, nothing matters. It's you, the director, the camera, your co-star. That is your little world, which you absorb from here, and then it just pours out through you. And with Manisa, I realized that it has to go through you. You can't wear it and spit it out. Like like it has to enter your blood, and you have to make it your own and then put it out there, because only then will you
Right.
do something with it. And I feel like I can't explain method, but I can say this, that I think with me, I listen. I listen very intently and I listen very keenly. And I've done that since I was a child, maybe because of my dance training. And I think subconsciously something just keeps working, like whether it's keeping my script with me, constantly reading it, uh, or like for Hindi, I will not constantly read my script. But
Okay.
somehow, it's also a vivid imagination. Like when I hear the narration, I'll almost see everything in front of me. Sometimes I see it in animation. Sometimes I feel something, and those feelings stay with me. And I feel like I can't learn a feeling.
Okay.
It's like something works, and then you have this amazing co-star or a director who just gives you that one word. Like Mohan sir is one of those. He'll give you one word. That's all he'll say. Or Mani sir, who will explain in a very different kind of way. You're just like, oh, okay, now I'm dying to do it. And then and then there's that magical space between
Right.
action and cut. So I can't explain the method, but all I can say is it's some kind of subconscious thing with a thing of it just feeling real for that very short time.
Right. Because one of the things I've noticed about you is that you do something that many non-Tamil actors or non-Telugu actors who come from Bombay or Delhi or wherever, they don't do, which is to at least match lip sync the thing properly. So I mean, I'm assuming that take a you really take an effort to memorize the dialogues, right? At least that much is something that you do
Oh
beforehand.
my God, I mug it like till I mug it literally. Like, I don't think I've studied that much for my class 10 or class 12 exams as I have, say, KV or Samoanam or any film that I've done recently. And I mug it to a point where, and I realize this, that, where I actually purposely distract myself, and then I'm saying my lines. And on the KV set, it was a joke because they used to be like, you can wake her up in the middle of the night and say, scene 52, and she'd be like, and say everything. So, and one day, in fact, Manisa, there was an actor who was, I don't know, it was the way that he was looking at me, and he would keep changing his lines. And because I'm like, I would understand it, just by sound, it would confuse me. And for some reason, it was the way he was looking at me that would just throw me, and I would forget my lines, and that would never happen. So we gave it 2 tries, and then Manisa, who's so perceptive, he came up to me and said, would you like to do the full scene on your own without him in front of you? And I was just like, please. So I did the entire scene with the pauses and the responses and everything, reactions to this person, that person, without anybody there, and we finished it in 1 take.
Right. Actually, that's a very interesting thing that you said, because you learn the words, but they're still not 100% words to you. So you kind of go by the sound. That's a really interesting take on, how you act in another language. That's really interesting.
But it's also weird. Those sounds start making sense to me emotionally, because there would be points where I would read KV and I'd be sitting on my bed and I'd be mugging a scene, and I would actually start crying because it would actually make sense to me, and I would feel so sad for that situation. And which is why today I understand Tamil and even Telugu, because it's just that you associate the word with the feeling, and then it starts making sense. And so even today when people talk, I understand the feeling. I might not understand the exact word, but I understand the feeling of what they're saying.
Was it easier to work in Mysskin Psycho, therefore?
No,
as in having a feel of the language.
No, you know why? Mysskin sir's language and style is completely different. So because I did 2 back-to-back at Madras Talkies, I just spent a lot of time there. So the Tamil that I was hearing and the way that Mani sir writes became very familiar to me. His pauses and I'm not saying I know it, but he doesn't form full sentences. I don't know how to say. He writes like almost like how we talk. And with Mysskin sir, again, I don't know the language, but instinctively I knew this is not. And so my thought became like how Mani sir, that Tamil is what I understand. Now, Mysskin sir's Tamil was a whole different, it was like a different language to me. The sentence construction sounded different. The way, you can construct a sentence in so many ways, but the way he would do it didn't make sense to me emotionally, quite often. So it took me some time to get used to it. And also Mysskin sir speaks faster. Right. So I would be craning to try to understand what he's saying. So it was very different. It was I literally had to treat it as a different language, which I did, because otherwise you're constantly yearning for what you know. So I had to tell myself, okay, this is a different language. It's a different world. Everything is different.
So much of it sounds like so much work. Has there been any film that you did that was just this breeze to go through, that's just so cool and casual and you didn't have to put in all this work?
No, honestly, you're saying I put in a lot of work. I am very hardworking naturally, and I love to work. My work doesn't feel like work, luckily to me. But actually on set, it feels like a breeze. See, mugging lines, I have to mug them in. I mean, I have no choice. I have to mug them, and that is the this thing that I have to bear for doing a film in a language I don't know. So that's very basic. But lines or no lines, ultimately, it's the emotion that you want to make the other person feel. That to me seems, when I'm doing it, seems effortless. I don't know whether it looks or doesn't, whatever, but I feel effortless when I do it. So then it doesn't feel like hard work, because that's what for some people is a lot. Like they when they do a breakdown scene or this scene or whatever, that's like, oh, I'm working so hard. But to me, I like when somebody said, oh, you did well in that scene, or how did you prepare for it? I'm like, I don't know, I didn't really, so that's maybe the balance that I strike. So it's the pre-prod, very much like how Manisha and his team work. It's the pre-prod that you really work at. And then once you come on set, you just flow. Yeah, that's also my Leelaka training. Yeah.
Have you found that the Bharatanatyam training that you had from Leela Samson has been of some use in your film acting?
Because I have answered this question so many times, I finally have an answer for it. Because earlier I used to be like, how can it? It's so different. Because stage is like so much about, it's very stylized and it's more projection.
Right.
And I actually was never comfortable on stage. It's like nobody believes this when I say it because I danced so much. But I much rather be in front of the camera. It's so much more intimate and it's so magical to me. I feel that what now I realize what possibly makes me love the camera so much is when I was a teenager, and that is the worst stage, especially when you're learning something like dance or music, and it's such a and especially dance, like you'll know with Bharatanatyam and any Indian classical art form, there's so much love poetry and erotic poetry, right, and all this, and as a teenager it is just terrible. And so we were very self-conscious and we would blush, and from being like kids, you're suddenly in this, oh my god, now you have to do a padam in a javali and you have to talk about love and you hate boys and all this, and then and your classmates are making fun of you and whatever, all of this. And Akka did one really smart thing. She figured what was going on and she would catch hold of us. Like I remember one day her catching hold of me because I was doing and giggling and whatever, and we were learning an Ashtapadi, and she put me, like, I'll show you from the side, she put me here. We used to sit on the floor like this, cross-legged. She put me here, right here, where literally you could put a hair between us. And I was staring right into her eyes. And she said, she's put on the music and she started singing, the Shruti box, she started singing. She said, now do it. And for like a while, it was like somebody had just tied me up and I couldn't function. And then suddenly all the inhibitions just go. I mean, I can't remember now how long it would have taken. Right. But one day the inhibitions go. And I feel like that camera is that to me. And that's why I find it so safe and I find it very secure. And I feel like you can be anybody, do anything. And you are at your most vulnerable, But I find that when you are at your most vulnerable, you're also at your most fearless and you're most strong. So that's what it's become to me. And I've realized this over the years because people have asked me this question, but it's taking me a while to get to it.
In a Film Companion interview, Saif said something very interesting about the time that he met Vishal Bharadwaj for Omkara. He said that he had a feeling that he wanted to do Othello, but then Vishal told him that he is too good looking to be Othello because Othello is this man who has complexes about his looks and things like that. Have you ever, and therefore he played Iago, right? So in the movie, so have you found that there have been parts that because of your looks, the way you look, there have been parts that have slipped by because of how we regard a certain kind of look with respect to another?
Yes, of course. But quite often I feel, see, in some cases and with some directors, I will completely understand what they're saying. In some cases, they're just excuses. Because I feel like as an actor, you can pretty much look and be anything. And it's about how you wear it, internalize it, and perform it.
Right.
Having said that, I've realized how important casting is and how important it is to inherently, like effortlessly, like get to the core of that character. And also to look it. Like suppose in the case that, like you told me of Othello, I do get it. I mean, it does stem a lot from that. But then somebody like Saif Ali Khan can also make himself look ugly. And when I'm saying ugly, ugliness or beauty doesn't just come from your facial features. It also comes from your a lot more. It's even like in people. And I'm not saying this like to be beauty inclusive and none of that. I'm saying this with complete like understanding of the fact that there are some stunningly beautiful people who beyond 5 times you meet them are boring. Like you can't keep looking at them. So I really I believe that, and I feel that every actor, they really want to do something, should be given that opportunity, despite their good looks. And I do wish that there could be that kind of fluidity in understanding. And there are some directors who take those chances, there are some who don't. I respect their opinion. And so for example, so many people, I remember even when we were shooting KV, Karthi said, in Tamil they use this word nativity story. He said you'll never be able to do that. Like he didn't say you'll never, but he's kind of some mentioned that.
Right.
And I always thought to myself, but why can't I? Of course I can. And then Dhanush cast me in Nanrudran like that, and Sufiyum Sujathayum put me in Pavda Chatte and Half Sari, and I felt really comfortable. Today, even today, I feel like, why can't I wear that every day? I feel so. This feels like me.
Right. But beyond that, I think sorry, I cut you off.
No. I said I find it a little difficult to answer that question because it also stems from people's perception of me and who I am.
Right.
Which very often I can't control, sometimes the response is so mixed. Like I've been given in interviews these last 2 days, somebody will say, you look so delicate and vulnerable, do you only feel you get those kinds of roles? Somebody else will say, people only come to you for strong roles, do you wish you could do something else?
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm confused.
Yeah.
Which is good, I guess.
So when you do something like Sufiyum Sujathayum, I mean, from the trailer, it looks like a certain kind of a part of the lot of nativity, the word that you used. When you do that, do you do something beyond the externals, that is the clothing, the hair, like you said, Pavada Chatta? Beyond that, do you try to see if there is some Malayaliness, let's say, that you look for, that you imbibe, say the way somebody uses their hands or their fingers or the expressions? Or
yes, I do definitely. Like suppose I'll actually go back to Nanrudran and go back to that. It really helped me doing that film because after that I did Sufiyum Sujathayum, and
so that's the film that's stalled right now.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And that really helped me because Dhanush, being an actor himself and being such a chameleon, he would quite often almost show me a head gesture and be like, see, you're from this village, so you can do something like this. And I'd be like, yeah, so that really helped me because whatever it is, I'm a city bred girl. I might have learned Bharatanatyam, but again, it's there's a sophistication in it. And when I say sophistication, I don't mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean. And there is a difference in how one would deal with it. So I feel there's a certain kind of naivety and innocence, and almost like in Hindi we use the word muphat, like no filter, because it's not burdened by any kind of knowing that comes with being like a small town girl, whether in Nanrudran or in this film. And I feel like doing Nanrudran helped me with this. Having said that, in both films, and especially in this one, in Sufiyum Sujathayum, they luckily made me into a dancer. Like I'm a dancer. That was how the script was. So I feel like little gestures and all, which I already know, hand mudras, using hands. I am also South Indian, luckily. Right. So I tend to use my hands. I use my face, my eyes. So I'm not like, I'm aware of that world. It might not be my everyday, but yes, it is very important to get that because I can't use my hands in a certain way. Also, having said that, we're also in 2019-20. So there, of course, is an overlap. So Sujata would have seen somebody wearing jeans, a girl wearing jeans, smoking a cigarette, maybe riding a bike now, who knows, So there is, we're not talking about a period film.
Yeah, you're not closed off. You're talking about
exactly. But yes, of course, there are mannerisms that one has to adopt, and the simplicity. I feel it's the simplicity that one is also adopting. I'm using a word that can be misconstrued, but you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about 5 filmmakers, and I want you to, if possible, take us through a scene that show how they approached their work and therefore how you worked in that particular scene. Let's start with Vijay Nambiar and Wazir.
I find his visual sense very powerful, very strong, and intrinsic to his working style. So these are casts against type. I want to do every film of Mani Sir's, but this particular film I'm not in. I wish I was. There's one more thing I want to say about Mani Sir.
Sure.
I told you I'll not stop. With Sanjay Sir, I remember he can do sets, he can paint, he can sing beautifully, he can dance beautifully, he can do everything artistic.